Hey, it's Jane. Okay, so this is my first post-surgical vlog. I don't know what it is. I have no plan. I'm just kind of I just feel like I just feel like talking cuz I've got no one to talk to. And yeah, so I just feel like talking. So, I'm just going to talk. I'm a mess. I'm a complete disaster cuz I need to wash my hair, but I'm low energy. Yesterday I slept, God, I don't know. Like, I slept 10 hours the night before, and then during the day, I probably slept another 5 hours during the day, and like 9 hours last night. Oh, I'm so sick of sleeping now. I went to Tim Hortons and got a extra large coffee to try and keep myself awake during the day. Uh, but I still feel extremely run down, which is understandable and actually a good thing because it means, my body is totally focused on the recovery stuff going on down there. And things are doing pretty good, actually. There's very little bleeding, and the muscles still hurt like hell, but I think the muscles are going to hurt like hell for quite some time. It's going to take a long time for those muscles to get used to opening up on a regular basis. So, and once the big one's in there, once the orange mamba is inside, it's okay. It actually kind of feels, I don't know, a little bit comforting having it in there. Um, Swelling outside, external swelling outside is actually pretty good. Not down as much as I want, but it's definitely down, like, say, 50% of what it was, which is nice. Although I think internal swelling is as bad as it was before. Uh, so, yeah. And I've been feeling really down. Really, really down. Which I think is the estradiol's kicking back in again. Um, yeah, I've been feeling super emotional and wanting to cry a lot and frustrated. Everything I touch frustrates the hell out of me. So yeah, I think that's the estradiol finally kicking back in, which is good because I want the fucking night sweats to go away, which are suck ass. They were as bad last night as they were the night before, which was half as bad as they were the night before that. So it's going in the right direction. It's just not dying off as quick as I'd like. Oh, and I'm starting to feel bored and a little bit cooped up. And I'm basically living from dilation to dilation. Let's see. Oh, actually, no, I got my computer there. What is it? Almost 2 o'clock. And so at 11. I almost kept the right hours today. First one was a bit late, but the second one was basically on time at 11. And so the next one should be 3. Yeah, so I got another hour before the next one before I have to do the next one. So, yeah, I don't really have a plan for this, and this is not an like I'm kind of doing an update, but it's not really. This is not about doing a recovery update. Um, I moved my office computer. My office computer is normally in the back room upstairs. Because I have two desks. I have my desk, which is like one of those 1960s steel, office desks, ultra heavy duty, weighs a billion pounds office desks, beige. Oh, I gotta love beige. That's my desk, and that's in my bedroom. And then my grandmother's roll top desk is my second office desk, and that's in the back room. And I've been using that um, because in the disaster of trying to move in, my bedroom has just been a complete shit show, and I just haven't been able to move around in here. So it's kind of living there and sleeping here. But now I'm slowly starting to sort shit out up here in this front room, and eventually I'll be doing primarily all my work at the my desk that is behind the phone. I'm still using the phone, and also I've got it turned around so I've got the screen pointing at me, so I've got to keep reminding myself to look at the camera and not at the screen, which is tough. Um, I just feel more comfortable having the thing pointing at me because, again, naked from the waist down. So I don't want to go flashing um, YouTube and not notice and do a long video and not notice. That would really suck. Um, but yeah, for now I've just set up. I just took the computer from the other room and set it up on the table right here beside my bed, and my main big computer is on the desk over there, and I'm not using it. I won't use it for a bit because I really want to rebuild it and like like upgrade the OS and I'd really like to put FreeBSD on it. To be perfectly frank, I've been using Mint Linux, which is, I don't know, a kind of a cop out, cheap and easy uh, OS to use. But really, I prefer so much prefer FreeBSD. It's it is my environment, and I hate dealing with installing applications and junk on Linux because Linux always makes everything so goddamn complicated because the whole Linux community is a utter shit show, you know. Whereas FreeBSD or OpenBSD or NetBSD or Dragonfly, they're all, they're much more structured and you really know what you're dealing with, and it's just so much cleaner and nicer an environment to work with. So yeah, I'm not using the my big computer right now. I'm just using my lesser computer, which is fine. It's good enough. It does the job. So yeah, yeah, I'm feeling really emotional, and of course, I'm 100% sure it's because the estradiol is kicking back in, which is good. Um, and just feeling really down and isolated, really isolated. Um, and I want to get started on my project. So I haven't talked about my project. I've mentioned it a few times on Blue Sky, but I haven't mentioned it here at all because all the videos up until now have been entirely about recovery, or about the surgical process. Um, so the project. Okay, so let me back up. Let me give it a little bit of history. Again, I'm gonna put my foot on the table. It's not comfortable to sit. Laying down is easier. Um, so I retired early from 25 years in business IT. Okay, I did. I was a Unix systems admin through a lot of that. I spent 5 years as a Microsoft admin, um, managing a I guess uh, it was a small company. I think they had about, I don't know, 50 full-time employees, something like that. So it was a small, but it was a complete Microsoft environment. So it had the domain servers and Exchange and MS SQL and all of the standard Microsoft junk in it. So I was the sysadmin for all of that for 5 years. But other than that, the other 20 years of my 25-year career was spent as a Unix admin because that's what I was trained in at college. So in the last 10 years, I was working for a giant American corporation. And during that time, I basically switched my title over to Unix Systems Architect because basically I wasn't really doing, low level sysadmin work anymore. I was designing and building custom servers. So I would design and code the software for some custom application. I would build the server to my specification, and we were using all VMs, so building servers was pretty trivial. So I'd build and configure the server to my specifications. I'd build my application to run on the server, and um, and then I would, support the end users who actually use the application that applications I had built, and that's what I was doing mostly for the last 10 years. So, so I basically say I retired as a Unix systems architect, and that's what my skill is. And in more refinement to that, specifically, my skill is in automating manual processes. So all of these systems that I designed and built were essentially someone within the company. It could be anything. Like it could have been the storage team, it could have been networking team, it could have been security team, it could have been um, customer service, uh, fraud prevention, all these different teams. They would come to me and say, "Hey, I've got this automated process, or sorry, I've got this manual process I'm doing, or I've got this set of manual processes that I'm doing, and I don't really want to do them anymore. I think that they can be automated, and I'd like you to automate them if you can." And of course, I always said yes because I love doing that sort of stuff. And um, I grew a um, like people came to realize that I was very quick at building things, um, and always open to building anything ad hoc. So a good part of that last 10 years, I was building custom automation for all sorts of different business processes and technical processes. And that became my specialty, process automation. So at 25 years, well, 8 years before I actually retired, I decided that I wanted to go back to school to study math because I've always wanted to understand higher mathematics better than I did, which was not very well. And I started saving. Well, first of all, I paid off all my debts. That took a little while. But then, after they were paid off, then I started saving up money. And at the 25-year mark, I retired and I went back to university to study math. And I spent 2.5 years doing that, and I enjoyed it. But as it turned out, I might be fantastic with computers, but I am not good at mathematics. And it's not a matter of not understanding the concepts. It's a matter for me. It's a matter of I'm a visual thinker, so I translate everything into visual images in my head. Um, and if I can't translate something into a visual image, I really struggle with understanding it. Like I don't deal with um, symbolic information very well, which, higher mathematics, it is almost entirely symbolic, um, uh, and I just don't deal with that. So I did the best I could translating, the things we were learning into like graphs in my head and trying to simulate some sort of abstract visualization of integration and differentials and all that sort of stuff, but it wasn't enough. And even talked to my professors about them. I went to several of my professors and said, "Hey, look, I'm a visual thinker. Like, I don't this whole symbolic representation of mathematics. Uh, I struggle with, um, and I'm struggling to figure out how to turn everything into pictures." And they're like, "Yeah, sorry, we can't help you." None of them were visual thinkers. So after 2.5 years, I mean, I wasn't failing, but I wasn't doing very well. And after 2.5 years, I said, you know what? I'm kind of beating a dead horse here. And my money was running low. And I decided, well, maybe it's time to do something different. I can keep learning math in my own pace, but I can't do it in a scholastic environment. I, I need to figure out how to translate all of this stuff into visual representations in my head, and that's just going to take time. Um, and I don't have the time to do it in a scholastic environment. So I decided that I'm going to call it quits at 2.5 years. Sucks, but I did get a lot out of it. I really didn't. I did learn a lot, and I think it was worthwhile. And I didn't leave like flat broke, so it's not the end of the world. Um, so I needed to have a new career, right? Because I was kind of hoping of getting a math in applied mathematics, and then from there I would decide what kind of future endeavor I would do. I would always have been computing related because computers are my life, but I just figured I would figure out what I wanted to do that was both computing and mathematical when I was getting towards the end of getting a master's. But here I was 2.5 years into an undergrad, and all of a sudden I got to make a decision really fast about what I'm going to do. And by the beginning of February of this year, this is 2024. So and right now it's December or December 10th today. At the beginning of February, after having mulled it over for weeks, I finally made the firm decision that I wanted to get into day trading stocks because um, I knew that it is a way to make money, and it's not gambling. I mean, it certainly can be gambling. If you're a damned fool, you can gamble. But if you're smart, it's like, well, I'll give you an analogy. Okay, I'll give you an analogy. One of the first companies I worked at was an online casino company, and um, I learned there that they had customers who were professional blackjack players and who made consistent incomes, like 5-digit incomes, like 50,000 and up US dollars per year, just playing blackjack. Because blackjack is the only casino game where the advantage is to the player. All the other casino games, the advantage is to the house, right? So if you play blackjack according to very well established rules that are not secret or anything, anybody can learn the rules of playing blackjack strategically. If you follow those rules to the letter, you will over time win more frequently than you lose. And they had regular players who made more money than they lost, and they were making like over $50,000 a year, right? So even with a gambling game like blackjack, you can consistently make money. And I've heard the same thing with poker, but I'm no poker expert, so I don't really know. But with stocks, it's the same thing, only it's it's far, far, far more technical, which means the more you can understand technical analysis, the more you can make good calls and be able to cut short your bad calls, right? Like the key to stock trading with technical analysis and being very successful is picking your entry points based on the signals, knowing how long to ride the stock as it goes up, because if you wait too long, the stock can plummet, and then you're trying to sell as the stock keeps dropping, and you could eventually start losing money, right? And also, if it's going up and then it drops, you need to have like a like a stop loss set. So just a little bit of background with this. When you're dealing with a typical retail broker, they have things set up for day traders where when you place an order to buy a stock, you can set a take profit limit and you can set a stop loss. A take profit limit is a limit above the entry price, so the price you buy at, that as soon as it hits that take profit price, the system automatically sells the stock for you. Or if you buy the stock and then the price goes below that, there's a stop loss price where it will automatically stop, like sell out, so that yes, you're losing something, but you're not losing too much. So the idea is that a if you get your entry points right, you should make more good calls than bad calls. And B, when you take profit, you should be taking more profit than when you lose profit, when you take a stop loss, right? So if you're if you're above 50-50 on both, then you're making money. It's that simple. Now, knowing what signals to use and sticking to your strategy, that's a different matter, right? But it's totally doable, and day traders make good livings. Some of them make obscenely good livings, and um, I like the technical aspect of it. It's not more complicated than anything I've done in the past. It's fundamentally different, right? It's an entire different paradigm from being a Unix sysadmin, but it's not more complicated than anything I've done in the past. It just isn't. The technical analysis is not more complicated than systems analysis that is required to, design and build systems and also troubleshoot misbehaving systems. It's not more complicated. So I knew it's something I could do. And given my background in process automation, it just seemed like such a natural fit that I would, instead of me sitting in front of a screen staring at charts all day, trying to catch a move, why not automate it? Why not write the software that does all of that mental analysis that I would be doing as a day trader, right? Distilling all of that trading skill into code that it does it automatically. And there's two upsides to this. One is that the code's not emotional, right? The code's not going to double down when things go south, right? Because humans have a tendency of, getting frustrated and doubling down when things don't go their way. The code doesn't give a shit. The code, if the code is taught, if the code is designed to cut its losses regardless, it'll cut its losses regardless. It's as emotionless as you can get. And also, so it can be consistent, right? Once I establish a strategy that works, where I make more money than I lose, it will keep that going forever, right? And while it's working, while it's sitting there making more money, I can then spend my time on fine tuning the strategy or developing multiple strategies, and I can play strategies off one another to see if one does better than the other. And I can improve the code, I can add more functionality. Um, I can, like I can start off just analyzing level one data, which is top of book, which is basically what are called candlestick charts. And I'll discuss all of this stuff later in more videos. There's too much to jam into one video. But I'll start off with level one data, and then at some point, once I've got that kind of nailed down, then the next version of the software will be looking at level two data, which is depth of book, where it's showing you all of the buy and sell orders, which gives you an indication of the what's going on in the environment around the stock, not just what's bought and what's sold, but who's buying and who's selling. Not as in who specifically, because it's all anonymized. You don't know who the person is, but you can say, well, there's a ton of buy orders and there's only a few sell orders, right? Or there's this one giant buy order that's soaking up all the sell orders, right? And you can see all this stuff, and you can make all sorts of strategic decisions with all this additional information. So once I get a basic, simple system working, I can then have I can then invest my time and energy in adding onto it, making it better, making its strategy better, back testing everything so that I can fine tune all the parameters, and also adding on new functionality to make it even more intelligent going forward. And that seems like such a better use of my time than sitting in front of graphs and doing all this shit manually, right? Process automation is my real skill set. So why not automate the process of stock trading? And it's not unusual, right? It's not like I'm the first person to think of this. The broker, like I use Interactive Brokers, they have an API. Most of the big brokerage firms have APIs because there are a lot of people who are actually doing automated stock trading. Like it's really not uncommon, right? Even though most people do live manual day trading, there's also a hell of a lot of people who are doing automated day trading with their own code, which is what I am going to be doing. So that's my big project. And that's what I hope to become. That's what I hope to turn into my next career, because I don't want to go and work for somebody else anymore. I'm sick and tired of it. Like, even when I've got a great manager, like, even when I've got a great person next up above me in the organizational hierarchy, I almost always can't stand the people above that. I always find that the Peter principle is so fucking true in the corporate world. It's gross how incompetent and out of touch and lost in their own bizarre realities um, executives are in corporations. And I just don't have the patience for it, you know? Like, in that first career, in that 25 years, I literally reached the maximum pay level that I could get without going into management, because that's what my manager told me. He says you've done all you can do, right? You cannot go any higher in pay grade without going into management. And I said, well, there is no chance in hell I'm ever going into management. I do not. It's not for me. And he's like, yeah, I know. He's like, I know. You're a loner. You just want to be left alone to to build stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I just want to be left alone to build stuff. So yeah, I can't. I need a second career because I certainly don't have enough money to live forever. But I can't go back to. I loved working in an office. I loved working with other people. I thought the office environment was so much fun. It was so enjoyable. I just couldn't put up with the management bullshit. And once you reach that, that peak of your level, and there's nowhere else to go but into management, I mean, what else? What can you do? What else can you do? So, yeah. So my plan is to get this software written. I've got the architecture designed. I've really got the architecture. I've been spending since February. I started February, beginning of February, with the decision I was going down this road, and began to learn the art of day trading. And since then, up until now, I have, so let's just say, well, let's say 9 months, because the last little while's been very taken up with the whole, bottom surgery stuff. Let's say solid 9 months of time learning the art of day trading, and designing the architecture, um, based on that learning. I have a solid architectural design for my software, and I'm basically ready to start coding. And in fact, right now, as we sit here today on December 10th, 2024, the only thing keeping me from starting coding today is the fact that I'm just physically exhausted from the surgery. So I think it's going to be a couple more days before I have the energy to get going. But I'm raring to go. I am really raring to go. Yeah. Yeah, it's really caught. I really feel like kind of caught between worlds at the moment. Sorry, I did need to sit up and get myself some of my energy drink. This is my energy drink. It looks gross, but it tastes really good. It's a bunch of vitamin and minerals. So it's a B complex and vitamin C, which I know C blocks vitamin B uptake. So the next batch I make is not going to have vitamin C in it. That's a mistake I made on this batch. But this batch is B and C. It has glycine, which makes it sweet. Um, and it has um, uh, bitter orange extract for flavoring. So it's got a bitter orange flavor. And oh God, what else has it got in it? Fuck. The stuff for. Uh, I have anomia. I hate it so much. I have anomia. So when I can't remember the names of things to save my life. Like literally, I cannot remember the names of things when I need to. And it really bothers me. Um, and I constantly have to go and look stuff up to remember the names of things. Uh, uh, it's got glutamate. It's got glutamate in it, and it's got Uh, the stuff that's good for your joints. Ah, ah, I can't remember. The stuff that's good for your joints. Anyways, it's my energy drink. No sugars, no artificial sweeteners. The sweetness comes from glycine, um, vitamins, minerals, whatever. Yeah. That throws me off, actually. The second I can't remember the name of something, it really throws me off. It throws my train of thinking off. What else can I say? So, yeah, so I don't know. I'm gonna try and do these videos like every couple of days, and hopefully they'll just keep getting better. This is obviously complete crap, and I can't imagine why anybody would watch it. Um, um, and I'm super emotional because my estradiol's kicking back in, but my healing is going really well, which is fantastic. Dilating is not easier, but it's not worse. Bleeding is way down, way down. Not gone. I think I'm gonna keep bleeding for a while, but it's way down. What it was a couple days ago. Um, um, and what else? What else can I talk about? I feel like I should be more organized for these things because I'm kind of rambling now. I started off pretty good, pretty solid, but I'm rambling now. Once I start coding, then I can be a little more focused on what I'm actually building. But it's kind of can't really talk about it in the abstract at this point. So maybe I should just call it quits before this gets too long and too many people drop off. Um, yeah, yeah. Sorry, sorry. This has been a complete wash of a video, I think. Because there's a lot I can say, but I just can't think of it right now. Okay, I'm gonna call this one quits, and then I will try and be more organized for the next one. Because it feels good to talk. Consider I've got no one to talk to. I'm not speaking with my best friend for a while because she really let me down, and I can't talk to my dad because, well, I mean, it's my dad. He's old. He doesn't understand anything that I talk about, and yeah, can't really talk to anybody. So I'd like to be able to talk here, but I feel too scattered at the moment. So I'm just gonna leave it. So I love you all. This has been eh, eh, but I'll try and do better. Okay? Bye.